let's jam.
We're in the building, yeah. All right. And boom. What's up? Welcome back, goddammit, to another edition of Tell Me a Joke, the guideline and Chasing the Dream. I'm your host, Maniacal. I'm going to say the whole thing like a pimp named Slickback. And today, today I got the powerhouse, the man that demands attention. The guy with your name is amazing, and it tells everything about you. Red Lion, the poet, or Charles, however you want to go by.
Hey, man, as long as you don't call me out my name, we good.
Okay, cool, man. Man, we made it, man. Good to see you. But a few days before, a day before Christmas? Man, it's Christmas Eve today, isn't it?
It is Christmas Eve, and we out here working. So
yeah. Hell yeah. Good to see you, dude. How you been?
Man, I've been busy.
Yes, you have.
It's cold in Houston.
Yes, it is.
So, there's that. But otherwise, man, I've been blessed. I've been good. And yeah, man. What about you?
I've been good. Just got a new house. Me and the wife.
Okay.
Into a new
That's
crib.
what's up.
This is exclusive. People ain't heard this yet on the cast, so it's just like, oh no, that's good. That's good, because at some point in time I was gonna sit down and talk to him and tell him everything that's going on.
Okay.
But now that you asked, good, I don't have to worry about that. Check that off the list.
Dope.
So yeah, I mean, I've been trying to get the work in as much as possible within the means of dealing with family situations and everything. And you yourself, you have been extra busy. How have you been managing that time, sir?
Oh, I sleep for about 3 hours, and then I wake up and it's like, well, let's go ahead and do it all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nah, man, it's just trying to balance out work, art, relationships, everything like that, and just learning how to navigate through it. So it's a continuous thing of just learning how to schedule stuff, because it's not always the same thing every single time.
Right.
So yeah.
How do you do it? Like, what is your process?
So as far as it pertains to like scheduling out and everything, I have to be really careful that I don't. One, I used to be really bad about this, but I used to double book. Yeah. Yeah.
And
then there was the other thing of accepting a booking, but not being able to commit to it as fully as I wanted to.
Yeah.
So like I know a lot of poets in the city, they go out, they do shows and everything.
Yeah.
My lane is a little bit different at a lot of times, because I do a little theater stuff. So I've been doing productions and everything like that. On the flip side, also the poetry shows, working on books, album, all kinds of stuff, right?
Everything.
Yeah. So because I never because poetry is not something that, well, it is something that you can put in a box, but it doesn't have to be in a box, right? So I like to tackle as many lanes as I'm able to, but within reason, right?
Yeah.
Because I can't, obviously, if I'm doing like a production or something with a theater, then I can't commit to certain other events because we got practice days,
right?
So just managing that, seeing what's worth taking, what's not worth taking. Is it a paid event? Is it not a paid event? Is it going to be more beneficial for me to do it or not? So,
right.
Just it, like I said, it's different every time, but that's how I navigate it. I just kind of weigh the pros and cons and what I can get done and what's within my ability.
Mm-hmm. So you are heavy into, so I see that you got a theatrical background as well.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Just a tinge.
Is poetry, has that always been your go-to since you were young? Like growing up, is this what you knew you was gonna do?
Not at all. No.
Where were you going in the beginning?
Man, when I was younger, I used to want to design video games.
Well, okay, hint, man. All right, before this podcast started, we just nerded out for at least a good 5 minutes about God of War, PlayStation 5 games and everything, Ghost of Tsushima, and motherfuckers know that I love my games. But yeah, please continue. So that's where he was. It fits.
Right. I used to want to design video games, and I was like, man, I want to be able to draw this and create this storyline and yada yada yada. And then poetry just kind of fell in my lap, and the more I got engage with poetry, the more the other thing just, the more the video game design
kind of got sat to the side.
Yeah. Now I still love video games.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I still love them.
Yeah.
But it's just I just see more of a purpose with me doing poetry. Not to say that designing video games doesn't have a purpose, but just for me personally, I just found more purpose in the actual, writing and crafting poems and everything.
That's fun. It's the exciting part. Just because I never know what I'm writing, where it's going to take me, and I've tried to like narrow it to where like this is what we're going to talk about. But whenever I let my mind take over the pen, it just like, this is where we're going. I'm like, calm down, but I can't. It never, and it usually something amazing comes up after. But I'm like, I just gotta learn how to trust the brain process that I have going on in my head, because most of the time I have to take a step back from it and then come back and see if this was okay from what I was writing. And most of the time I don't have to rewrite anything, but there have been some times where I was like, oh no, I've gotten way too out of the box with this. let's rein this one back in.
Yeah, I think that's the beautiful thing about, like, art and poetry specifically, because it's a lot. It has such a rich storytelling element to it. And we know, like, if you see a good story, there's always like a plot twist. There's always that thing that brings you back, or full circle moments, right? Yeah. I think it's different if I'm writing for a company, right, and a company says, hey, we want you to write a poem about A, B, C, and D, then you kind of got to be disciplined and stay within topic. But if it's just you, I mean, I would explore that. A lot of times, whenever that happens to me, I get a good 2-3 poems, out of the idea, because I'm like, oh, this is where my mind is going. Let me put this to the side. Yeah. And then, oh, okay, there's another branch, and I put the other branch to the side, and then I continue down like the main path, like the main quest in the video game. I continue down. Yes. I continue down like, the main quest, and when the main quest is done, it's like, okay,
I can do these side missions.
I can do the side missions.
Yeah, hell yeah. So, how long have you been in poetry?
So I've been performing poetry a little over 10 years, but I've been writing for a while, maybe 14, 15, actually performing a little over 10.
Where does your inspiration come from?
God, the Lord. Yeah. I guess specifically, I think like every poet has their anchor, right?
Yes.
So you got poets that are really big into the erotic scene. You got poets.
Yes. Oh my God, and they dig deep. I'm like, yo, I am uncomfortable, but okay, do your thing, sir. I know this isn't from me, but.
I mean,
is it?
Because we didn't heard you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So a lot of poets are anchored, like you can be anchored in the erotic scene. You could be anchored in the pro-black. You could be anchored in like, Christian. You could be anchored in LGBTQ. You can be anchored in different like, pockets of poetry and topics. And for me, I would probably say that my anchor is hope. Oh. And the reason it's that is because I can literally take the idea of hope and put it in just about anything. So I can put hope in, like, I have pieces about sex trafficking. I got pieces about immigration reform. I got my pro-black pieces because they need hope there too. You know what I'm saying? I got my Jesus pieces. I got my rah, like, I'm gonna bite your head off.
Right,
pieces,
yeah. Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Those give chills to you. I've been in the room where you've done a few of those where you got preaching and everything. I'm like, I got goose pimples. Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're like, to say that you said that like an anchor, that actually, it calmed my brain down a bit, because every time I go up on stage and because I'm coming from the comedy world. Right. So to come into the poetry scene, seeing how put together everything is, and to see the love that you get from the crowd and the audience, I've always tried to fit in wherever I could, hoping that people would see me. So I'm always trying to be like, oh, well, I guess I need to do something like that. Oh, okay, well, all right, I guess I need to do something like this then. And I keep bouncing around from from like plot point to plot point instead of just staying anchored. Because like you said, that you have your own little thing, and instead of I get confused and sometimes overwhelmed by the thoughts that I have, because like I have to be like somebody else, or I have to do what this person is doing because this is poetry, and like that right there actually kind of put a halt to those thoughts, and it's like, nah, nigga, just do your thing. Like
yeah.
I
don't think there's anything wrong with being diverse,
Right.
I think it's a dope thing to have diversity of content. Hence the reason why I can have like multiple subject matters, multiple rhyme schemes, multiple ways to write a poem, right? Because you don't want the audience to get, you don't want to become too predictable,
right
for the audience,
right.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't, because everybody has a pocket. Like I'm funny on accident. I can't be funny on purpose like you. You know what I'm saying? Like I could try to write something and like, you know what I'm saying? It's and you're a comedian, so most of it, like, well, a great portion of it is not necessarily the writing, but the delivery of it. I was like, man, I can't deliver this. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't deliver like Kyle, man. Kyle funny. But you know what I'm saying? So I mean it's just that. So I believe that we all have people that we can reach, right? And I've come to I've accepted the fact that there are just some people I'm not gonna ever be able to reach because for whatever reason I just can't reach them. But the Maniacal Menace Kyle Smith got people that saying he can reach that I can't reach. So like there's certain subjects I can't touch. You know what I'm saying? I can't talk about. I mean, I can probably talk about like women. Right. Or, stuff that pertains to women. But I could never talk about it from the perspective of a woman because I'm not a woman.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Only they can really dive deep into, that subject matter. So in that sense, there's only certain things I could, cover and write about.
Yeah. I never, like, now that we're talking about it, I finally get to put it in that type of sense. It's like there's certain things that you just can't. Like, there's nothing that you can do about it. There's no need for you to go in that lane. Just do what you do and do it makes it enjoyable to you. Because for a minute, like especially going to certain places, seeing certain people, and thinking that I'm not good enough to fit in this category because this is like certain Sunday shows. Remember, I came and talked to you about that.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh boy,
feeling that I'm not good enough because I do this and I don't do that. So that's what had me kind of like bouncing around. Like I don't, I just kind of want to fit in everywhere that I do, but noticing that fit in how you can fit in. Like people are still gonna appreciate what I'm doing. It is different. And not everywhere I can go ahead and take what I do to the stage. Because certain places, like I've tried, like I told people this many times. I've actually tried to take comedy poetry to the stage to where it's just poetry, but me doing everything silly. I did 20 minutes of that, and I got tired of myself. I was like, this is not. Like, my rhyme scheme is like, okay, cool, but it's supposed to be a comedy show, and everybody's like, that's clever, but bitch, I can laugh every now and then I'm thinking about, like, what did you say? Like, I gotta fucking, because most of the things that when I do write poetry, it's like, oh, I gotta think about this now,
right? And
so you just see a whole bunch of faces, like, it goes from ha-has to like, this again? We got more of this? And so I've learned to mix those up together and actually hone that in to where it's just not gonna kill the audience.
Right. Yeah, I think poetry is such an emotionally charged art form.
Yeah.
Right. The intention that, like, poetry at its core, it forces you to think, right?
Yeah.
And comedy, what comedy does is comedy makes you think in certain ways, but it does it really lightly. Like I would say, like, if I look at somebody like a Dave Chappelle, right?
Right.
And we see how Dave literally sets up an entire storyline of how, like, he does his comedy, right? And I would say that parts of his comedy would arguably be poetic, right?
Yes, very much so.
Because he's teaching us, but at the same time, he's making it light and digestible.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, right? I think whenever we talk about like, especially your type of writing, because you're right, because like you are a writer, you know what I'm saying? And whenever you do like write poetry, there's thought, there's depth that goes into
Yeah,
it.
so much.
Yeah, and poetry literally like forces people out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And comedy makes you comfortable.
Yeah,
a lot of times, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you can do it. It's like, you know what I'm saying, but I think you just have to know yourself as an artist, right? And what you bring. So
yeah, I've gotten to this point in my writing to where I'm like, all right, I have certain bits that are really funny, but now it's like, what do I write about now that can come off as funny in a poetic sense? And so it hasn't been too difficult. I come up with certain premises, but I want to come up with certain things that people deal with on an everyday basis. Something that I can actually bring to a younger audience instead of having to be ostracized to just an adult crowd.
Right.
You know, but so that's kind of where my mentality for this is going now. Like, since that I have the knack to write this way, can I hone it into writing specific instead of just writing what comes at the time, like a joke? Basically, all my jokes, the way that I write jokes is something personally happens to me, and then I sit down, I think about it, and just by me being me, the person I am, the way I would talk about something is very silly to people,
Right.
And I've noticed that over time. It's not something that I intentionally do, but I've noticed that I can't help this. And it's crazy once you find it out, because that's the person that you are on stage.
Yeah.
And so to be able to find that and see that that's the person I am, I've accepted that more, because for a while it threw me off. It fucked me up for a second. I was like, because I would intentionally not I'm being myself, and people are hysterically laughing, and I'm like, I'm not trying to push this issue on you to where I want you to laugh hysterically. I am being honest, and people can't help be like, no, dude, you're fucking killing me, and I'm like, I just want to have a normal conversation. It's like, you know, but this is how I am, so I've taken that and I've been able to kind of hone it. But I want to be able to put it to where it's just something normal, instead of being like, let's talk about your assholes and shit. You know, instead of taking it that route, taking it the normal route, like, this is how I tie my shoes. And, you know.
Yeah.
But just that's the difficulties of thinking with this artist brain of mine.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's a difficult thing. So whenever I like make a set, I always try to make my sets themed. That way I can literally control where the energy is going, right?
Oh, nice.
So, like the set that we did at VIP, right? You know, I started off with, you know, the piece about the guy who, you know, talked trash or whatever, and then I had to make corrections. So I knew that that's a good opening piece for a poetry crowd, because they would appreciate it.
Oh, they were with it.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and they dug it, right? And then I started getting into the actual set, which revolved around community and different aspects of community and how to fit in different, you know, places in community, right? So if I arrange the set in a community like format, right, like I did, I can control, like, okay, this is the high point of the set, this is the low point of the set, and can I take us from that low point and bring us to a high point, or can I get us from a high point and bring us really, really low? And how do I want to end it? You know what I'm saying? What's going to be the cap, you know what I'm saying, or the cherry on top, as it were, right? So I mean, I'm not a comedian, you know what I'm saying, so I wouldn't know how to formulate a comedy set in that manner. But I would imagine, like, maybe if you make your sets more themed, it would focus it a little bit more. That way you can control the room.
Well, I've cracked that code.
Okay.
I got a special that I tell people. I've already done it.
It's a whole special?
Yeah.
You ain't telling me about it?
I've done it way before.
Do you love him? I don't think you love him, son.
I definitely hear. I was just like, shit, if my mama heard me, if I said I didn't love Jesus, she'd come through this goddamn microphone. But no, 2018, I shot and wrote my own special called The Inquisitor's Observations, Comedy Poetry. to where I take comedy and poetry and I put it all together, and I had a set basically, and it was themed and it would do comedy, and then it would do poetry, then it would do comedy, but the comedy would flow into the poetry.
Okay.
Yeah, to where, like, so what you see now of me doing the sets at certain places and everything, how I kind of set everything up before I go into the actual poem, that's basically what I did. So I'm taking pieces of that and just bringing it out to the world now, because not everybody's seen this, and I've taped it and I haven't done anything with it.
Okay.
And I need to, but it's just I have so much on my plate, and I'm the guy that's got to fucking edit it and everything.
That's a true statement.
Yeah. So it's like, you gonna get it when you get it. I look at it now and I'm like, I can't watch this again, because like the bits that I do that's on there, they're like completely changed. Not to an extent to where it's like the entire bit, but there's certain things that I say, there's certain things that I've taken out of those bits now, so it's kind of cringy to look at. It's like, ugh.
I get it.
Yeah, but it's still decent enough to like dish out there, and so it's like, I'll work on it when I get to it. But I've finally gotten to a sense to where it's dialed in to where I can continue doing this, and people are like, oh, okay, I fucks with that. So that's why I take it certain places. But like, I wanted to ask you this: how do you know when a poem is coming to an end? How do you know when you've done writing?
Oh boy. I think the honest truth, at least for me, is the poem's never truly done per se, because the poem is an extension of who I am.
Yeah.
And since I'm always growing,
Right.
like I'm always like the particular piece of poetry, even though it may have a conclusive like written portion of it or a recording portion of it.
Yeah.
If my ideology of something changes, then at least for me, I don't feel comfortable saying a poem that I don't fully believe.
Oh.
So if I don't believe it, you know what I'm saying, why would I spit it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't like, even if the poem is like really dope or really good and everybody likes to hear it. Now I could, as a writer, go back and revise it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To make it like, okay, I believe it again, you know? But I remember that's happened to me like maybe twice. And I remember I wrote a poem like years ago, and my ideology changed. Yeah. And I'm just like, well, I don't believe this anymore. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I had to let it go. And it was a good poem. It was one of my best well-written poems, and I'm just like, I know it's going to hit every time, but I'm like, that's just, I don't believe that anymore. Yeah. So I had to be like, well, either I can throw it away, which I had to, because so much of it was just not who I am now. You know what I'm saying? And I've changed. So like I never want to I know we always like to separate the artist from the artwork, or there's this idea that you separate the artist from the artwork, and I think that's true to an extent. Yeah. But for poets it's different, because I a lot more connected. Yeah, man. Like you can't, it's almost impossible to do a poem and not believe in what you're doing, like unless you're like a really great actor. But even in acting, there's a level of belief that you have to have in your acting. I remember I was watching the first Black Panther, right? And then you see Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger, and you're looking at this villain, you're listening to him, and you're like, you know what? I believe that. I can. Yeah. You know what? You're making sense. Yeah. And then I watched the new Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and then I'm looking at Namor, and I'm just like, you know what? You sure right. You sure is right. You know what I'm saying?
I fucks with you. Okay, sir.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like, well-written villains, to me, like my favorite villains are the villains that are borderline heroic, borderline like they really think about humanity. Like Thanos makes sense to me. Yeah, Thanos, I was like, I feel you, sir, but man, what you gotta do to get what you want? Yeah, Jesus, but Yeah.
Okay, hey,
Right.
more power to you.
You know what I'm saying? And it's the same with poetry. Like, even if I'm going the wrong direction, right?
Yeah.
I'm willing to go in the wrong direction and then, you know what I'm saying, have my heart changed. You know what I'm saying? But if I don't believe in what I'm saying, then I'm lying to you.
Yeah.
And I can't lie to you.
Yeah, I've when I write, there's so many things that I think about, and then that's one of the things that I do think about. Like if I write something down and it just comes out because I'm rhyming, and I'm like, no, that I don't. Do I feel this way for real, or am I just putting this down because that was a clever line?
Yeah.
And I'm like, sometimes I gotta eat them clever lines and be like, no, let's be true to ourselves.
Be a little tough too.
Yeah. Oh, so tough.
Because I'd be like, damn, that was good.
Yeah, that was good. Like I'll be having to look up certain things, be like, no, Kyle, you can't say that because that don't mean that. Even though it sound like it's supposed to, it don't mean that at all. And if somebody fact checks your ass, you're gonna be looking dumb.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, I feel that. And yeah, so there's so much that you have to actually, like, when it comes to writing, there's so much that you have to take in, considering, just because, like, when I go back and I go look at some things and I reread and I go over it and I'm like, okay, I like where this is going. Sometimes I get confused on where I'm trying to go, and it, sometimes I have to turn the boat back around because I'm veering off a little bit too much. But I've always liked to. I noticed that when I do write, my writings have came to a point to where, and when I am coming to an end, it has like a meaning, or like a lesson, and something like that. I'm not trying to teach nobody. This just kind of how it comes out, or how I feel on the inside. Like, there's certain things that I talk about, that the poems that I do write, I want to put visually, just so people can see the words visually themselves, not actually like subtitled, but like, as I speak these words, this is what's going on in the video as well. So I know for me, when I am writing, that's one of the things that I do think about, is like, how does this, because every time I'm writing, it's a whole movie that plays in my head. So for me to recite, that's kind of how I'm able to memorize, basically by the visual pictures that I have in my head for those certain things. How does your memory, like, what keeps your, since you do theater as well from time to time, like how do you go about memorizing?
Oh man, listen,
your pieces are long.
They're not long.
Yeah, they got some length on them.
Man, listen, let me tell you something. I remember the first piece of poetry I wrote, it was 12 minutes long.
Oh my goodness.
That was the very first piece of poetry I ever wrote, was 12 minutes. Took me forever. Took me forever to memorize it. I've gotten to the point now where my poems are like, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes at the most.
Ooh.
At the most 5. You know what I'm saying? But like I say in that 3-4 minute time frame now.
Yeah.
So that's where most of my poems are at now. Memorization, it's tough. It's tough. I have yet to crack the code on how to effectively memorize any poems. I hold on to this quote that Maya Angelou had, right? So Maya Angelou says that people may not remember what you said to them, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Ooh. So for me, like, I think about that in terms of memorization all the time, because a lot of times I don't remember the words whenever I'm actively trying to memorize them, but I remember how I feel in the moment. So that feeling or that emotion acts as a muscle memory. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, even when I'm like going back over it and I'm reciting it just purely off of the emotion, sometimes my words change too. And I'm just like, this feels more natural. So now I have to change the word.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I've done that. I have slashes, so many slashes, to where it's like, either you can say this or you can say it this way. And there's certain spots where I'm like, it sounds so much better to say it this way. I'm going to leave this slash here just because, like, this is what it used to be. But this is how I'm going to say it forever now. Yeah. And, like, there's certain, like, it ain't easy being a black man. That one, I have a certain portion of that towards the end, to where it's just like, all right, don't cry, but get through it, because that's how it makes me feel every time I come to that. And I'm not one of those people that's, that writes about what's really going on in the economy and all that. But I have that side to me, like that activist side. I have that side, but I haven't really done much with it besides be there for people. Like that's the type of person I am. I can be there for you. I can help out in those type of ways, but anything else, I'm just a bumbling piece of junk. I can't do nothing else for you besides give you some uplifting words. That's kind of how I feel. Like what I have to do in like life, kind of. Like I don't know much else to do besides, I do electrical, and I can put some lights on for you and shit. But if you down in the dumps, I can just go ahead and give you something to make you smile. But that's about it. I'm still trying to find my purpose in this world. I think I've kind of found it, but it's like, what's my main purpose? Like, why do I keep chasing this dream that I'm on? For what? Like, that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, what makes you continue this?
I think that just goes back to hope, man. I think that the world has an abundance of depression. It has an abundance of anger. It has an abundance of malice. It has an abundance of gossip.
Yeah. TMZ.
Man, but the world does not have an abundance of hope. So like my other occupation is I'm a youth pastor too, right?
Oh, okay.
So I work with a lot of young people, a lot of young impressionable people who go through like actual depression, who go through suicidal thoughts, who go through cutting, who go through like all this other stuff, right? And as I've grown, I've learned that like this, just because this is not just a young person thing, this is adults like actively struggling with depression and everything like that. Me myself, I've struggled with depression and everything, and as a black man growing up as a black millennial, they tell you, hey, you just pray it out, or you know what I'm saying, or it's just something wrong with that boy, or
right,
you know what I'm saying, we don't do therapy apparently, and we don't,
you'll be all right, just be man, be poo poo,
you know what I'm saying, and you just it's like medicine, what you need that medicine for?
You don't need that, boy.
just get over it. But yeah, no, like it's a real thing. So like for me personally, I do it because I know the impact that it can have. If you look at the greatest movements in the world, and I guess one of the easiest ones I could look back to is like whenever we look at civil rights movement, the things that predated the civil rights movement were literally art movements. The Harlem Renaissance, where you see Langston Hughes and Maya Angelou and Toni Morris and all these people who were in this thing called the Writers Guild. Like these are people who literally marched with Malcolm and Martin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These are the cats that like fought for our civil rights. But before they did that, they were artists.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they literally guided the movement. They were the voice of that time. We like whenever we had George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor, we were all bumping Kendrick Lamar because we knew.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
That was the song of the movement, right? And you have these artists, like art, especially that kind of art. Artists are almost directly connected with movements, with times in history. Arts literally shape like how we perceive the world and how we want to change the world, right?
Yeah.
We can see the world and we can chisel it like it is, or we could write it how it should be. That's just what artists do. And now I know arts are unappreciated in comparison to like, business and politics and everything like that, but literally art affects all of it.
Yeah. And I think that's what keeps me going, just because I know the impact that these words make on people.
Right.
Like just in comedy, before I even got into poetry, like the things that people have told me, just because I've gotten on stage and, was silly.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything that pertains to them, but sometimes relating with certain people with over a joke, and people coming up and be like, dude, I'm glad I saw you today, man. You made me feel so much better. It's
a good laugh can save somebody's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had a few people come up to me and like, dude, I was in a bad place.
Yeah.
It's like, man, this helped? This helped you? He's like, if I wouldn't have came tonight, I don't know where I'll be tomorrow. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
You you're welcome. I do this for me so I can mentally feel better about myself, but to know that this actually reached someone else, man, you're welcome,
Right.
And so that keeps me going, because there's so many times where in my head I'm like, why I'm doing this, why I keep doing this. There's other things that I could be worrying about. My job is good, I have a good job. Like, why do I keep putting myself through this turmoil of like, how you gonna do today, like what's gonna feel like today, like how that audience gonna be, like, are you gonna go on stage, you gonna bomb tonight? When you bomb, your morale is low. You feel that in your soul, like you take that home with you until you got another time or another chance to redeem that. And until you have that, like, it's always this back and forth ping pong, like, of feelings and emotions. And it's just like, you sure this is what you want to do? You're like, you gonna keep doing this? Like, it's like,
Right.
yeah, I guess so. I can't stop now. I'm this deep into it.
And I think that goes back to your point about purpose. I have a lot of young people that always ask, like, how do I find out what my purpose is?
Yeah.
And I wish I had a definite answer, but I think that when we consider purpose, I think purpose a lot of times, or at least what I found for myself, is it's two things. One, purpose is for me. As a personal person to grow in a place, but purpose always branches off to somebody else. So like there's people always have the saying, like, what's in your cup is for you, and the overflow is for everybody else.
Yeah. Oh, you're the second person that's told me something like that. And
I found it to be true, man, because like, so what are we doing? Why do we work? Because one, we want to be okay, but two, we want to be able to give something to our kids, right?
Yeah.
We want to be able to give something to the next generation, right? So our purpose is not only tied into us, but it lives past us. And when we look at art, like Maya Angelou is gone, but I still remember what she said. You know what I'm saying? So even though she's gone, like, her words live in me, and they live in like hundreds of other writers and civil rights activists and everything, because she was here and she, said words and she made an impact, right? And it lived past her. And now that we have these words, we can build on these words. You know what I'm saying? So when we think about purpose, like, purpose, literally, it should never die with me. It should always be carried on to somebody else. I heard somebody says that you only have success whenever you have a successor, right? So if my success literally goes with me,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, how successful was I really? Aside from money, aside from all that other stuff, like, what did I leave behind? Did I give what I had to somebody else before I was done, before I was gone? You know what I'm saying? And can they carry, you know what I'm saying, that mantle that I've given to them? Who are my successors? What do my successors look like? And it should just be so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So that's just my thing about purpose, right? I always feel like purpose first starts with working on you, and then it branches off to everybody else around you, and it impacts everybody else around you.
See, that's why I enjoy doing this. That's why I enjoy doing this podcast, because like, I don't know who this reaches and how many people it does reach, but I know the people that do hit me up that it has reached be like, oh man, this is good. Like, I really enjoyed that conversation that you had with such and such. It really opened my eyes to to certain aspects of life and where you can go, because like, this is Tell Me a Joke, the guideline and chasing the dream, where we don't really tell jokes and shit like that, but we're all dream chasers. And everybody's out here on their own little journey to do something that normies aren't doing.
Right.
Basically, we have a gift, and it's out here to spread it to others. And in our world, it's a bit, it looks like other people don't see it, or we're kind of like the people from Men in Black. Like, we see the other aliens, but other people just see everything else as normal. And it's like, oh no, you don't, that person's got it in them, but most of the time, like, if you just go up to somebody, they don't understand what you're talking about, what you feel, what you got to go through just to be who you are. And that made me think about, because people have came to themselves now, and they think more for themselves now because we're open to ourselves more because we've had to spend time by ourselves because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And you see a lot more people committing suicide,
Mhm.
and a lot more people being like, oh, I do need help. I need therapy. And like, it's good to see more and more people now opening up to the thought of speaking with someone else instead of how it used to be like, oh, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, be a man or be poo-poo, you be all right, little boy, you know, don't cry about over that, and you're a man. Now it's like, oh no, something was wrong with us. Like, you can, it's okay to seek out help now, and which is, it's something as a comedian and entertainer, something that we go through because we take in a lot, especially dealing with the energy from others. Because I feel as if it's a superpower now, to where I can really tell or gauge the energy of a room when I get there, or gauge a person, if this person is cool or if this person is fake, you know. And that's a good feeling to be able to do that. But noticing that, like, we've also taken that energy ourselves. And like, me and my wife, whenever we go out, like, there's it's to an extent to where we're like, all right, I'm done with people for the day. You know, it's just like, all right, there's a lot going on. You don't know everybody, but, you know, dealing with different people's energy and shit. Just going to the store or whatnot. Somebody can have a bad day, and that reflects off on you now. And now you take that energy and you bring it to the house, and it's like, fuck, I don't want none of this. You know, so it's good that we're noticing more of this now instead of just entertainers. Like, it's good that more people in the world are actually noticing, hey, mentally we need to check on ourselves. And mentally, I guess, being entertainers, we are the ones to go ahead and calm down the normies, because, you know, it just feels like I need an outlet. They need an outlet or some place to go. And so our writing and our words is their outlet, because it's something that they don't do. I try to find a purpose for myself, even though I feel as if I know my purpose. I try to continuously give myself the answer to why I continue to do this, basically.
I get it.
Yeah, and I think I've gotten there, maybe. I don't know. Sometimes I still wake up like, it's okay. You don't have to continue.
I mean, hey, man, like, that's the thing about being human, though, right? We're constantly changing. We're constantly rediscovering ourselves, relearning ourselves.
Yeah.
In the next 5 years, you and I will not be the same people.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, I have to be able to readjust myself and understand, okay, I've changed. Like, whenever you asked about, you know, the poem, my ideology changed. That's not who I am. You know what I'm saying? So, like, just relearning who I am and being able to not only relearn who I am, but adjust to the people who are around me, because they're changing too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Some people change for the better. Some people change for the worse.
Some people change for the worse.
You know, so, but yeah, no, I think that's what it is. But I think that's a beautiful thing at the same time, because what it says is that I don't know, there's just something comforting about chasing this perfection but not being able to reach it.
Oh my goodness.
Because even though I know I won't be able to reach it, the fact that I'll always have something to chase after gives me even more purpose. It means that I literally will never reach the end of something, but I have a reason to keep living because I'm chasing something. And I think there's a beauty in knowing that you're not going to reach it, but just getting closer and closer and closer to it, you know.
It feels it's almost like an insanity right there.
Kind of, sort of. I mean, you can look at it like that, but you know, it's still a beautiful thing, you know.
The chase is fun. Hold on. Bang. Yeah, there we go. But yes, that man, that's good, because now I have more to think about, and more to have me not so worried, you know, because The way you've articulated that, it's just like, okay, I got this. I think I got this. I think it shouldn't be too difficult. Just keep pushing forward, basically.
I mean, in a nutshell, and enjoy the ride. Enjoy the fact that you'll always be growing. I think that's beautiful, man. You'll always grow. You'll never run out of things to grow in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, yeah, that's the comfort that I find in it, man. Just growing, and even though I know that I will never reach this perfect pinnacle of humanity, but just to know that I'll always have a purpose in pursuing something. Because if I didn't have a purpose, then what would be the point of me going? What would be the point of me living? And this is where that hope comes in again, right?
Yeah.
Because if people don't have any hope, you know what I'm saying, then why would I pursue anything if I don't have any hope?
Oh.
And if I have an absence of hope, then what else is there? I don't have anything else. So yeah, that's the comfort that I find in it, at least, and just thinking about it myself. So yeah,
hell yeah! I hope y'all heard that. Goddamn it, dude. We out here giving knowledge and giving hope and fortitude for people to keep going on their journey. We got a game of choices coming up. Everybody likes a game of choices. I got a soundboard on this little thing. But no, I ain't got nothing specific on it. So we got a game of choices before we get you out of here. This has been a great conversation. We 50 minutes in already.
Oh my.
Yeah, right. It just goes. But we got a game of choices. You got 4 options and 4 choices. Basically. Now, your options and your choices this will be good because most people get confused by this when I go ahead and give them their choices. They're like, oh, what's a such and such? But you kind of a nerd like me, so I think hopefully you won't have any questions about this.
Oh, preferably.
Yeah. All right. Now, your options are you got to be one, you got to raise one, you got to marry one, and you got to sell one of them.
Okay.
Be one, raise one, sell one, marry one.
Okay.
All right. And then your choices are mermaid, a mogwai, a Mexican, and a manatee.
Are they all female?
It can be however you want it. You can have Jason Momoa as the mermaid. So it all depends.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
He's
whatever
not a
your
mermaid. That's funny.
Yeah, so,
he's half and half.
Exactly. People was like, well, what half is the mermaid? I was like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. These are your choices. These are your choices. You can do what you want with them, however you want with them. Be one, raise one, marry one, and then sell one of them.
Okay. Ooh, Lord. Okay. I got to think about this. Okay. Jesus. Okay. So a Mexican, a mermaid. What were the other two?
A mogwai and a manatee.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna marry the Mexican.
Okay.
So yeah, that's off the table.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
keeping it safe.
Now the mermaid is different. All right. This is why the mermaid different, because like whenever you think about like mythological mermaids,
yes,
technically like the urban legends surrounding mermaids, where did you know that they were actually like, they would lure men into the sea, and like, what I'm saying, they would have like this beautiful woman like appearance. So like, an anglerfish, right?
Yes.
So that's kind of like what the mermaids were. They would like lure the men in, and then the men would finally get underwater, and then they get eaten.
Oh,
yeah.
What?
So there's that kind of mermaid.
You're the first person that's ever brought this type of mermaid to the choices. Oh my God, I don't like
I'm
them.
weird, bro. Now we can talk about little Ariel mermaid. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Okay. So I've
Love, Death, and Robots type of mermaid.
Okay,
Jesus.
so I've married the Mexican. Okay, manatees. Okay, so manatees are rare.
Yes.
Manatees are extremely rare. I might have to sell the manatee. I think I'm gonna sell the manatee.
Okay. There you go.
And the I can't pronounce the other one.
The mogwai.
Mogwai. Okay. That sounds like the thing in Skyrim.
Oh, that's the gizmo.
Oh my my bad. Okay. Were my last two?
You married the Mexican, and you're selling the manatee.
Yeah.
So you got to be one of them, and you got to raise one of them. So
I got to beat one of them. I got to raise one of them. Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Okay, now listen. I see. Listen, I don't know if I want to beat the mermaid.
Oh,
Because...
that beat it. Be it.
Oh, be it.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. Okay. All right. Let me see what we working with here. Okay. See, now I want to be Aquaman now.
Yeah, right.
Dang. Okay. I think I'll be the mermaid. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
I'll be an attractive Samoan dude. I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? Aquaman, Jason Momoa got abs. I'll take it.
Yeah, he does. He does.
And hey, man, I guess my only option is to be. Yeah, so I'm gonna be the mermaid, and
You gonna sell that Mogwai?
I gotta sell it, man.
All right, that'll work, man. You can sell a Mogwai on the black market, man. You know, the world might come to an end, but it's okay. It's okay. You'll be a dapper mermaid out here.
I will. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be underwater, so you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna
you ain't gotta worry about.
I'm gonna be all right.
The gremlins taking over. Yeah, they can't swim. They just gotta stay away from water. So you're perfect. You good. Oh, that is...
It's chess, not checkers.
Yeah.
Chess.
That is the... Oh, my God. I haven't had a good... Like, they're always good like that, but I tell people every time I do this, it's always different. You're the first person that's ever came and explained the actual mermaids to me. I'm like, oh, snap. Okay. Yeah. If you want to be those type of mermaids, either or, but... Whatever realm of mermaid you want, that's the ones you can choose. And this was, that was fun. Thank you, man. Well, thank you for coming, dude. Let everybody know where they can find you at.
Okay, no doubt. So if you want to follow me, you can follow me at Red Lion Poetry. Red the color, Lion the animal, poetry the art. That's on all platforms. Boom. I have a website, redlionpoetry.com. So it's literally Red Lion Poetry anywhere you look. Can't miss it. So it's really consistent. I ain't got no numbers or underscores in the name, so you ain't got to get confused. As long as you know how to spell, you're going to be okay.
Yeah. Why Red Lion? Where'd that come from?
Man, listen, you got another hour?
Yeah.
I guess in short and sweet and simple terms, red is, to me, it's the color of passion, but it's also the color of warfare. Yeah. Lion is very representative of headship, general. Lions are very regal. So whenever I perceive myself as a king that is powerful, a king that's willing to war, a king that is passionate, a king that's willing to fight. So in simple terms, that's why I stuck with the name Red Lion, because it has that kind of significance. Plus, it's simple. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah. That's dope as hell, man. That's what I'm talking about. Well, everybody, thank y'all for coming. I have been your court gesture of holding court today. The Maniacal Menace, Kyle Smith. Say the whole thing like a pimp named Slickback. And until next time, jokers, man, keep dreaming.